I've had this for a bit now, and a few people ask me about it, so here is my take. I installed it in my own place, lived with it through hot days and cooler nights, and I have had enough time with it to notice the stuff that actually matters day to day. This is a ductless mini split air conditioner and heat pump setup. It is for someone who wants heating and cooling in a specific space without running ductwork. If you have a finished garage, a bonus room, a basement room that never feels right, or a main living area that needs help, this type of system makes sense. It is also for people who care about efficiency, but more importantly, for people who just want a room to hold a steady temperature without a lot of fuss. What makes this one different in practical terms is how it is meant to be installed. The Lineset comes pre-charged and uses quick connect fittings. That is the whole reason I chose it. I wanted something I could realistically put in myself without having to call someone to handle refrigerant. I am not going to pretend it is as easy as hanging a picture frame, but it is also not some mysterious professional-only job if you are comfortable measuring, drilling, and taking your time. As far as how it looks and feels, the indoor unit has that clean white plastic look most mini splits have. It is not trying to be a piece of furniture. It just sits on the wall and does its job. The front panel feels fine, not flimsy, and it opens in a normal way when you need to get to the filter. The louvers move smoothly, and nothing on mine has rattled or buzzed. There is a built-in temperature display on the unit, and I thought I would not care about that, but I ended up liking it. When I walk by, I can see what it thinks the room is doing without grabbing the remote. The outdoor unit is what you would expect. It is a metal box that has to live outside and handle weather. Mine has been through heat, wind, and some heavy rain. No issues so far. I did put it on a stable base and made sure it is not sitting in a place where water pools, because that is just common sense for anything with a fan and electronics. Setup is the part everyone asks about, so I will talk about what it was like for me. I set aside an afternoon, and it took me around 3 hours from opening boxes to having it running. The pace was not because any single step was hard. It was because I kept double-checking measurements, keeping the lines neat, and moving slowly on the wall mount. Most of the tools were regular household tools. The key thing is planning the whole location, planning how you are going to route the lines, and making sure you can get the indoor unit on the bracket without fighting it. The Quick Connect Lineset is the part that reduced my stress. Connecting it still takes care. You want clean connections, you want to follow the steps exactly, and you want to be patient. But I did not have to deal with gauges and vacuum pumps in the way you normally would on other systems. After I had everything connected and powered, it started up normally and began cooling within a few minutes. One feature I appreciated almost immediately is auto restore. I had a brief power outage during a storm. When the power came back, the unit returned to the same settings it had before. I did not have to hunt for the remote or reset anything. That is a small thing, but it matters when you are trying to keep a room comfortable and you are not always thinking about the air conditioner. Daily use is simple. Most of the time I use the remote. The buttons are straightforward and the response is quick. I tend to set a temperature, set the fan to a middle setting and leave it alone. The unit does a good job maintaining the room without constantly feeling like it is blasting. Airflow feels even, and the swing function helps avoid that one cold stripe of air hitting you on the couch. Noise is another real-life thing people care about. Indoors, it is quiet enough that I do not think about it when I am watching television or working. On the highest fan setting you hear air movement, but it is more like a steady whoosh than a harsh sound. Outside, you can hear the condenser when it is running, but it is not obnoxious. It is the kind of sound you expect from a machine moving heat. Now let me talk about performance in real conditions. I tested it the way most people will actually use it. Hot afternoons, cooking in the kitchen, people walking in and out, and sunlight heating up the room. It cools the space quickly, and more importantly, it keeps it stable. When I had guests over and the door was opening a lot, it recovered fast without feeling like it had to run at full blast forever. At night, I could turn it down a bit, and it held the temperature without big swings. That steady behavior is what makes a room feel comfortable, not just raw cooling power. I also used it in heating mode on cooler days. It warmed the space in a way that felt natural, not like a space heater that makes one corner hot while the rest stays cold. It is not instant like turning on a toaster, but after a short ramp-up it filled the room evenly. Maintenance is easy, and that matters because most people do not keep up with complicated maintenance. There is a filter clean notification, and in my case it popped up right around the time I was noticing a little more dust in the filter anyway. Cleaning it is simple. Open the front, slide the filter out, rinse it, let it dry and put it back. If you actually do that when it reminds you, the unit keeps running the way it should. On smart features, I will keep it grounded. I like having the option to control it from my phone, mainly when I am coming home and want the room comfortable before I walk in. Pairing and setup were not perfect on my first try, and I had to redo the connection once. After that, it stayed stable. The app is useful for basic things like power, mode, fan, and temperature. I do not live in the app, but I like knowing it is there when I need it. There are a couple of limitations worth saying out loud. The installation is still real work. You are drilling a wall, mounting equipment, routing lines, and dealing with electrical power. If you are not comfortable doing that safely, you should not force it. Another thing is the line set length. Mine is the one that comes with a 25-foot line set, and that worked for my layout. But if your outdoor unit needs to be farther away, you need to plan for that before you start. Also, the indoor unit display is nice, but if you are sensitive to light at night, you might find it a little bright depending on where it is installed. Overall, my impression is simple. This system has been reliable in my home. It cools fast, it holds temperature well, it is easy to live with, and the do-it-yourself focused installation approach is the main reason it made sense for me. It is not flawless, and it is not magic, but it has done what I wanted it to do without turning into a project I have to constantly manage. If you have questions about my setup, or you want to know how it behaved in a specific scenario, leave a comment and I will try to help. If this video was useful, subscribe to the channel and let me know what you want me to test next. Thank you for watching.